Good evening, everyone. It is 7 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order. Tonight is our first video recording, so you'll notice the camera in the back. We're not sure how things are going to work exactly tonight, whether the audio is going to work properly or if there's any other issues, so just be aware you're on camera. No foul language or anything else tonight, okay? It makes a rowdy group. That all being said, could I get a roll call, please?
I'll roll. Mr. Atkins.
Here.
Mr. Jacobs.
Here.
Ms. Colvin.
Here.
All present and accounted for.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And could I get a motion to approve the minutes of the previous meeting, August 2nd?
I'll make a motion to approve those meeting minutes.
Second.
All those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And citizens' comments. Hearing none. Road Department report, Mr. Camry. Good evening.
Good evening, board. At this point, I'm going to stand pat with my report as it was submitted. I don't really have any updates or corrections. So unless y'all have anything you need to pass along to me,
Short and sweet.
Yeah.
that's it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Good evening, Scott.
Yeah, you're welcome.
And Chief Shear, good evening for the fire department report.
Good evening. Just want to touch base on a couple of things on here. The new records management system is going to be a big taken for the next 3 or 4 months. We're trying to get it in service. The other one's 20 years old. Commissioners agreed to pay the first 3 years. The first year is $26,000 for us, and next 2 years will be $20,000, and they picked that up. They've historically picked up a cost on all the records management system in the past. So hopefully they continue to do that. So that's if you see the commissioners and they have any conversation about it, then thank them for what they did and continue to hope that they're picking that up. Because, 20,000 a year is expensive. Received a couple applicants. We got one for tonight. We had interview one on last Friday, and we got a couple more that we're working through right now. So getting a few in and out.
That's good news.
Update on I did get the intake valve price right before I got here. The 2 people when that was Vogelpool at 911 fleet. On the intake valve, Vogelpool is a low at $1,924. That's $329 below the next bid. And on the nozzle, it was Vogelpool or 911 fleet was low at $33.34, and Vogelpool was $34.53. So they was $119 cheaper on that. Those are 2 things that we need to buy for the new engine. We're going to try to get by with the hose that's on the old engine to move it up. That hose is about 11 years old. So hopefully we'll get a couple more years out of that 5-inch hose. Because historically the 5-inch hose, as it folds, it cracks real bad. And we're going to test it again, and hopefully we'll get everything else off the truck. This should be about the only thing, other than a few mounts, we have to be bought for the other truck.
So are both of those, then, was Vogelpool the best price on both?
911 fleet was better on the nozzle, and
Okay.
Vogelpool was lower on the intake valve. So I'll call both those guys and see if, hopefully they don't expect to get both of them. If they expect the one price because the other, then I'd have to go with Vogelpool because it's still going to be about $150 cheaper if you can, between both things.
So what was the total cost on both of them there, Paul?
The intake valve was $1924.80, and the tack nozzle was $3,334. I'll give you this. These are all copies of everything. So if I didn't get a chance to email them out, you can have this for up there.
Maybe see if they'll come down to $119 or.
Yeah, I'll try it. I mean,
So,
try to get it.
I'd like to make a motion to approve $5,300 for the purchase of an intake valve and nozzle.
I second that.
Okay, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Consider it done, Mr. Chief Sheriff.
I'll work with the magic with it. Get it down as soon as I can, but I don't have a problem at all. New engine, it goes in production November, looking at January delivery. I told Darryl the other day, we'll probably start getting the bills on that, the 5 payments, probably in November. We'll start getting those, and it's like 25%, 25%, 25, and then 20, and then 5 on delivery, so. Not looking forward to January in Clintonville, Wisconsin, but it is what it is. You know, it's cold up there and bad when you go up there, they got 8-foot rods on top of their fire hydrants for the snow, so. Other than that, they get a new member, new business, and, that's it. Any questions?
We'll be talking a bunch of fire stuff later, so.
Yep.
Anything else to pass along to Chief Sheriff?
You don't have anything.
You're not?
No.
Thank you,
very
Chief.
much.
Appreciate you.
We had no Skymanners, that was not us.
No what?
No Skymanners.
Okay.
Did we hear if that was the cause of?
No,
this?
it was electric, it
Okay.
was electric in the barn.
Fair enough, just
So there was no electric, but it turned out it was.
crazy
electric.
coincidence.
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
So,
And moving forth to the zoning department report. Good evening, Ms. Loewen.
Good evening. I don't really have anything else to add either. I've been starting on the magazine and starting to send content to Stacy Castle already, so that's my report.
Anything to pass along to Ms. Loewen?
My article being just tweaked a little bit of the, I just want to update it, so I'm gonna give you the drop dead date for that.
The first September?
December 1st, okay, that's right.
we got it.
All right, thank you, Ms. Loewen. And administrator's report. Good evening, Mr. Edwards.
Good evening, board. Just a quick review of my report. We did interview the applicant for the full-time position firefighter EMT. We have an executive session scheduled for later on in the meeting for this. Our levy ballot language has been approved by the state. And seal coat bids, I did review those in detail, and I got a resolution in your packet for tonight to approve CML for doing both parking lots. And Village of Corwin has requested some conversation about snow and ice removal. And I think we got Mr. Clark here from Corwin Council to speak later on. Other than that, I think that's all I have for tonight.
Any questions or concerns for Mr. Edwards?
I do not at this time.
Thank you, sir. And moving on to old business. Anything? Hearing none. New business, questions or concerns of the bills?
I have none.
Legislation, Resolution 2022-54, accepting the resignation of Justin Young from the Wayne Township Fire Department. Any comment, Chief Shear?
No, I'm not sure what he's doing as far as his future plans is. He did give a monthly notice, and a month long, which was perfect, so.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Make a motion to adopt Resolution 2022-54.
I will second that motion.
Okay, a motion by Mr. Patrick, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2022-54. Call roll thereon. Mr. Patrick.
Yay.
Mr. Jacobs.
Yay.
Ms. Coleman.
Yes.
This resolution is hereby adopted this is 16th day of August 2022.
Resolution 2022-55, approve the acceptance and hiring of Emily D. Bassett to the Wayne Township Fire Department as volunteer EMTB.
Definitely. She's a resident of Waynesville, lives on Justin Ridge, graduated from Waynesville Schools in 2019. Just recently got her EMTB certification a couple months ago. It wasn't very long ago, but looking to get knowledge and training time, and she she wants to go further and to become a medic and in the other medical fields. Passed her agility background and everything, did really pretty good times on her agility test.
Thank you.
What else? This was it.
Like I said, I don't see,
She had right time with the city of Kettering and Troy. She, like I said, wants to either be a medic or a PA. She likes the idea of volunteering because of the mixed stuff. Monday, Wednesdays are Sinclair classes, and she's probably available nights and possibly weekends. Her stepdad was a captain at Sugar Creek he retired about 5 years ago. So,
Okay.
her mother just married him a few months ago. So, new stepfather, so.
Very good. Do I hear a motion to adopt resolution 2022-55?
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2022-55.
And I will second that.
Okay, I have a motion by Mr. Jacobs, second by Ms. Colvin. Call roll thereon. Mr. Patrick,
Yay.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yay.
Ms. Colvin.
Yes.
This resolution is hereby adopted this the 16th day of August 2022.
Resolution 2022-56, accepting and awarding the bid for parking lot seal coating to CML Services. Any discussion on this?
We talked about it last meeting.
Okay.
Yeah, and, Gus, it looks like you took off the second layer, right?
yes, took the second layer off and retweaked the additional and everything because I think I sent you a copy of his two quotes and then just one of Collett's. But basically, Collett, you had to add up and go back a few pages to find your total bid. So he definitely was quite a bit significantly lower on both projects.
All right.
To those here in attendance tonight, my cousin owns CML, and so I will be recusing myself tonight from the vote.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2022-56.
And I will second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Colvin, second by Mr. Jacobs to adopt resolution 2022-56. Call roll thereon. Ms. Colvin,
Yes.
Mr. Jacobs,
Yay.
and Mr. Patrick.
Abstain.
Thank you. This resolution is hereby adopted this is 16th day of August 2022.
And we had a request from Corbin Council to see if we'd be interested in contracting for their snow and ice removal. And so I'd like to give the floor to Mr. Kevin Clark.
Can I do it from here or up there, or?
Either way, as long as you project your voice, we're
I
all
can do
right.
that pretty well. My name's Kevin Clark, and I'm a Village of Wayne Township, Wayne Township, Village of Corwin. I've been tasked to solicit bids for snow removal of Village of Corwin and Furnace Forge for the snow season of 22-2023. I'm putting out feelers to see where we can get some bids from. It was suggested I speak to Gus, and I think I left you a voicemail, Scott. I'm putting out some private calls. They're not coming in as much as I thought they would be, so I'm here if there's any questions of you all as far as putting together a bid for the Village of Corwin. The mayor knows I'm here, and the clerk treasurer. So, we're looking to see if we can get a joint effort for snow removal this coming season and beyond.
What
We've
have
had private snow removal in the past, and I think we want to go in a different direction.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna ask is how, with the past, most recently, like what was done?
Last snow season wasn't so much. I think we had one weekend, we had an ice storm, where we had Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of a winter, and we had a private individual do Furnace Forge, and they've been doing it for the past several years, and they must have a high turnover rate, and the snow removal did not go well.
Okay.
I don't know if I'll call it snow or ice, because that was pretty nasty. I think that was in February we had that. So we're looking to go in a different direction and see what's out there, if we can get a joint effort with the township.
So are you're looking for, salt to be put down too, and beet and everything
Yeah,
else that we
yeah.
normally do? Or, what's the scope here?
Yeah, what's your specific?
Keeping the streets clean during the winter, snow removal, whatever y'all do in the village, or, the township, I should say. Ice, or salt, I know it's not salt, but, is it what, calcium chloride or brine?
Yeah.
Use salt?
Yes.
Okay. I come from the aviation industry, so salt is a nasty word. So.
Right. Yeah, that in airplanes doesn't go.
No, it doesn't go well.
So, would you care to disclose what you were paying in the past for snow removal service?
I believe the number I heard at the last council meeting was in the 23 to 24K range.
So it was a contract for the entire season, no matter how much it snowed, it wasn't
Entire
a
season.
per event?
I believe it was, but I have to check with the clerk treasurer.
So,
Was that an on-call type setting, or was it minimum amount of snow that was there that initiated
Well,
the
let's
snow
just
removal?
say a former council member owned the snow removal business.
Okay.
So, what kind of deal it was, I don't know. He also owns a landscaping business that did some work for Furnace Forge. So, I don't know, I just came on the council, 6 months ago? So a lot of that information,
they already got you doing the dirty work.
Yeah.
I stepped up and I've taken a couple things under my belt, and I'm getting busy and getting active with the community. My wife and I moved here about 2016 from the Columbus area. We bought our second home down here and transitioned down here from the Columbus area.
So really, the main driving force of this conversation, it really comes down to whether or not we have the capacity or not.
Exactly.
That's,
Yeah.
no matter what any of us think, that's really what it boils down to. And so I'd look to Scott and say,
And I can answer that with 3 words: we do not. Years ago, we did, but that was prior to the dedication of the rest of Sandy Run. Now we have Valdosta and Thomas Drive, with the addition of the Carter Drive extension. With current staffing and equipment available, it's all we can do to keep up and maintain that 3 to 4 hour on a, what I will say, quote unquote, normal snow event. For a 3 to 4 hour round turnaround, which is kind of the sweet spot in the industry. Even prior to those acceptances of the streets that I just named, we were on 3 routes, and we were lucky to get around maybe 6 hours when we were doing the Village of Coral.
and so you would be short on staff and equipment, or just one or the other?
Both.
So, and that would be, I would say we could try to work something, if it'd be something where we can go through and say, hey, look, you give us 30 grand, we can afford to hire somebody else, but if we don't have another truck.
Well, we can start with money does talk, but I understand if you don't have the capacity,
Right.
it doesn't matter what money you throw at it, you can't get the job done. Now, parallel,
And nowadays, trying to find a body to sit in the seat and with a steering wheel.
I think the last season, the contractor didn't have qualified drivers, and it was a messy situation. And parallel to what's going on with this conversation, the village is rewriting the code, and eventually the code will be in Furnace Forge that there will not be any cars parked on the street all the time. All cars will be in driveways. That's the way the code is being rewritten. It's not official. It hasn't been let, but all citizens and property owners will be informed. I'm just saying, I know the plows had trouble with cars on the street, whether
Oh,
it's
sure.
2 inches or 5 inches.
Oh,
So just out of curiosity, is that a specific ordinance for just Upper Corwin, or does that apply to all of Corwin?
Well, I'm thinking about what I'm allowed in Furnace Forge and the village of Corwin, because Furnace Forge covenants were dissolved when the developer left, and now the covenants have been absorbed into the village code, which are being rewritten to the 21st century. So the code will incorporate Corwin and Furnace Forge. And there are some issues in Furnace Forge, and it's not a grid street. You know, there's a lot of cul-de-sacs and curvy roads, and
Right.
cars are parked in narrow streets, so the village of Corwin's trying to clean that up. Whether it'll be done before the next snow season, I don't know, because you have to put it out 1, 2, and 3 readings.
sure.
You have to notify citizens. It will be going out in the magazine this fall about the codes that are being rewritten, so it will be in the fall magazine, Stacy alluded to. And so hopefully that will solve some of the snow removal problem.
And that's definitely a selling point. I just, you know, at this point, you know, with what I have available to my department, I wouldn't be able to accommodate, you know, the village of Corwin.
So our next meeting is Monday. I'd like to give an update, some kind of an unofficial update. So is it a definite no, or you're considering it? You want to see, you want to put together a bid?
Based upon staff, I don't think that it's even a consideration. You know, to me, especially when it comes to Furnace Forge, you know, there's a reason that we don't encourage neighborhoods, and, you know, this board that's sitting up here has been pretty, we want slow, natural growth, not any kind of high density, and we're already struggling with the neighborhoods that we have. So I can't put these guys in a position where I say, hey, you hate neighborhoods, let's give you some more. You know, if it's one of those things where there are main thoroughfares that our guys will be traveling anyway, I can see something like that where.
Well, I mean, historically, I mean, we've always, you know, Corwin Road, which turns into Main Street, coming to the avenue, we have always and will continue to take care of it. The avenue going through within the village of Corwin limits will continue. Even the little section that belongs to the village of Waynesville out at 42, between the bridge and 42, we'll continue to take care of that just like we always have, until I am ordered otherwise. But straying from that,
It's hard.
I mean,
It's impossible.
I mean, well, I mean, and there's a lot of other considerations. I mean, you know, when we're plowing on our roads and something would happen and, you know, damage to the road, you know, it's our road. Okay, so that's something we have to think about. Okay, so we start going, for lack of a better term, off book, you know, for other jurisdictions or whatnot. Okay, who's gonna pick up the tab, you know, and things of that nature. Plus, I would like to sit here and tell you that trucks never break down, people never get sick. But I can tell you right now, one truck breaks down, 2 trucks are down, because I've only got 4. And when one of the trucks goes down, I'm off the road. Because I'm trying to get that one fixed
Someone's gotta fix it.
to get it back up. You know, so,
Well, and that's,
and that's just the tip of the iceberg. I mean, I could go on for a good while, but, you know, my recommendation, no offense, but my recommendation would be a hard no.
and it's, you know, it's unfortunate. I mean, historically, we have struggled to have the proper staffing for our own roads, and I think we're just, I mean, even last winter, there were a couple of points where it was like, I might have to drive a truck.
Well, I mean, and that's a very real possibility. I mean, we get into a large snow event, you know, when we're out for many, many hours, and, you know, and I run my guys out of hours,
Yeah.
and it's still snowing, or drifting, or whatever.
So we do it. Good, good, good.
Guess
Next
what?
item,
You're
employees.
sitting in the big chair, so, guess what?
That's that fine print.
Yeah, that's the fine
That's the
print.
fine print.
I have a Class A CDL and I do drive a truck on the road as my retirement job. So if you need someone to drive a snowplow,
Have you guys considered getting a small plow for the village? I mean,
I can broach that, but that wasn't discussed.
yeah, it just seems like that might
It's
be,
a thought, it's a
yeah.
thought, it's a thought, you know, then you'd have to have your maintenance department and upkeep, and
Right.
you'd have to shelter it and that sort of thing, you know.
That- Sure, you know, from a township standpoint, you know, there are many smaller townships in other rural counties where the Board of Trustees
Does all the work.
does all of it. They dig graves, plow snow, mow grass, fix potholes, they do, because that's all they got. I don't know, is Corwin Council full boat right now?
Excuse me?
Is the council full,
But
are all
you-
council
you- you-
positions filled?
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, it's all positions.
So,
Yes.
one could make the argument that you have a wider pool. I mean, a pickup truck with a snow plow and a spreader
Yeah,
doesn't require a CDL license.
right,
Ju-
then you have to think about liability issues
That-
Same.
and skill sets, you know.
Same.
Exactly,
We're not in the
exactly. I'm fully
business-
aware.
We're not in the business to replace mailboxes.
Sure.
So, but if there's anybody out there in the private sector that you think that might look at it, feel free to drop me a line, I appreciate it, and I can run with that. So, we do have Ohio Greenworks doing some of our landscaping, but they're not ready to approach them. I don't know if they do snow removal, but,
I don't know whether they do or not.
Or not.
I-
I know, I do.
there's a lot of guys running around with pickup trucks.
Oh, sure,
I know.
yes.
How about this elite spirit?
Yeah, I think Elite
Elite construction.
Construction down at the old dog food factory and the cannery, I think they're delving into
Yeah.
snow removal in the wintertime.
And we also have to consider how far will they travel to do a job,
Sure.
you know, based on what diesel costs nowadays.
Right.
How far will they come to do Corwin?
Well,
And-
Well, they're here.
they're in Corwin.
They're in Corwin.
Oh, okay, okay.
They're at
They're on North Main.
North Main,
North
yeah.
Main.
I apologize, you're not from here, so, yeah.
Dog food factory.
Yeah, but we all know.
We have a couple of guys on the council that are from Old Town Corwin.
Okay, so they, yeah, so they,
I'll bring it up. And then the issue about, you know, the cars off the street, again, that's not official. It's in the works, it's in the writing, but we have to go through a lot of processes. So, and the buses are gonna love it when the cars are off the street too.
I
Because the
would,
buses are having trouble navigating.
I mean, if, with the board's permission, I'll just continue on. I would, because I would, just some hints or helpful ideas. The cars is huge, because years ago, when we did do Corwin, cars were a pain in the neck. But the basketball hoops,
Yeah.
it doesn't sound like much,
Yeah.
but when you've got the bed in the air and you're trying to spread salt and you're trying to get the snow off the road or whatever, and then things are right on the road or right at the edge of the road,
Yeah,
the headboard of the bed will catch it every time.
yeah.
Just something you might want to think about.
Yeah, they forget to pull those hoops in, you know, even though in January, nobody's shooting hoops.
Well, one would think, yes.
I
So,
appreciate your time.
Mr. Clark, yeah, I apologize, but the answer will have to be a no.
Right,
Well, we'll have to get through it.
Yeah.
yeah.
We'll get through it.
Well, and as a resident of Corwin myself, I mean, it's not like I don't
I understand.
feel the pain and frustration, but,
Yeah,
you know, if it works, it works, if it doesn't, it doesn't.
No, we'll figure it out, but I appreciate your time.
You bet. Thank you.
Thank you.
Think,
Any correspondence this evening, folks?
I have one piece of correspondence, it's from the Warren County Health District, and it's their monthly newsletter, that's all I have.
Mr. Edwards?
Nothing of significance, I just got a thank you letter from Warren County Sheriff's Office from the Area Progress Council was in the leadership class, and it was kind of strange when we met, and I didn't realize when he invited me. It was from Paul Sarver. Since I'm in leadership Warren County class of 2022, one of the reasons I decided to get involved with leadership Warren County is to learn more about the county. I work and live, worked for the sheriff's office for over 17 years and have no real contacts or networks outside the sheriff's office. I'd like to thank you for sharing your thoughts and spending time with the class. I also want to wish you luck with any future endeavors that you and Wayne Township and the county as a whole. And Paul's one that we worked with from the sheriff's office on one of our action items here in the past year, so it was nice to put a name with a face. So I guess he's stuck in the office.
He's office manager, or
Yeah.
some, I don't know the exact title, but he's a super good guy.
Excellent.
And then I think I had in your packet a copy of next year's application. So if you know of anybody that wants to take that class, it's supposed to be turned in, I think, in November, so they can approve their class register for first of the year. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Edwards. Any other correspondence? Elected officials' comments?
I have no comments, extra?
I was just gonna say, I wanna thank, the residents of Wayne Township for, watching the video if they get a chance, if we get this posted out there. Thank you for all your, support and effort, and hopefully we can bring this to you, twice a month.
Thanks, Josh, for.
Yeah, thank you, Josh.
Yeah.
We'll see how it works.
Yeah.
And we do have a need for a work session this evening, related to the fire department. So we're gonna go ahead and open that up. Basically, the topic is going to be discussing the upcoming levies and making sure that we are appropriately informing the public and expressing why that need is there. Sounds good.
Could I get you to sign off on the resolutions?
Yes, sir, I'd be happy to.
You wanna vote?
Pardon?
You wanna leave?
Yes, that's what I said.
No.
I just
We
asked,
understand.
I asked one thing, that whenever you go into your executive session, someone
Mark the
document
time.
the time and who makes the motions and such for me. Thank you.
Out for work session.
Okay.
Okay, so you have some,
Do we wanna do, Gus, do we wanna do your, PowerPoint kind of first, or do we wanna go look at the, charts that cause I saw you put some of the charts in there, I just had a couple of extra ones.
Okay, let me pass down some packets here and I'll get hand out. And we'll kind of go through those first and then we can maybe take it from there. I'll see if I can follow along with,
Wait, are we
the,
doing, hold on, are we doing the levy stuff first?
yes.
Okay, so this, we're not doing what you just passed out. Correct?
Yeah, this is work session, not executive session.
correct. This is what this is.
Yes, I've been here about this.
But I just wanted to, I guess, kick off the work session with showing our need, and based on what the committee reviewed with the 6 members that was requested, we put together this demonstration of 6 employees of various classifications and years of service credit. And that really hasn't changed from the beginning, but that's what ultimately drove the bottom number right down here of what we need to look for as far as monetary revenue in order to be able to support our mission of staffing the fire department. So the basis of the wage rates used to determine the levy millage rate. And I guess one thing I just noted down here on this was the fact that if we used one of each one of the classifications, and that's one firefighter EMT, which was on the first line, the other is a firefighter 2 EMT, and then one firefighter 2 paramedic, and then the fourth was a firefighter 2 paramedic with 5 years of service, and firefighter 2 paramedic with 10 years of service, and the sixth one is a firefighter 2 paramedic with 20 years of service. So that ultimately, shows how we came up with the amount of money that we needed, which translated then into the next page, I think, which gives the 2 we do not want to use, and 3 we do not want to use. So we'll go right on into the PowerPoint presentation. So that determined the 2 mills that it would take in order to generate that. And with the PowerPoint, we'll start this. This, again, is not complete, and I mean, I just put some slides together based on some of the graphs that Diane had and some of the information I have. And so it just, it starts out, Wayne Township Fire Levy, picture of the firehouse. So the current Township Fire and EMS, you got your funding sources and uses, and the 2021, the revenue that they generated. So you can see where the 2.45 mil levy, which is our general operating expenses, which includes small tools and equipment, supplies, the fire chief's pay, and also the volunteer and the part-time wages are included in that. And the revenue on that is $607,102. And the expiration date on that is, I haven't added that in the chart, but it's, I think it's 2025 or 6, I think, I'm not sure. But I'll get that updated if we go within this. Second line is the 1.8 mil levy, which is our capital replacement items, and that replaces engines, pneumatics, tankers, the rescue equipment, and any other large price scheduled equipment. 2021, it generates $446,034, and it's set to expire in 2023. So those are our 2 main things that we operate off of now, currently, along with, and it doesn't show it in, that does show it down here at the bottom. We also got grants. Last year, 21, we had $29,000 in grants. EMS soft billing, we received $163,000 in soft billing. And then in contracts, with Washington Town's contract, we received $23,450. So our total income of our revenue sources of $1,268,920. So basically, we are able to operate as we are right now off of our current levies, and that's why we're only asking for renewal of the 1.8 mil levy. Next slide shows the status of our fleet, our aging fleet, and our apparatus. On this column over here, I have the high dollar replacement items, but there are also the items that generally last 20 to 30 years of service. So you have engine 91, 92, 93, rescue 91, tanker 91, tanker 92. And we list out their ages, 12, 24, 28, 17, 25. Over on this side, I put in the squad, the 2 squads, the grass truck, the chief's car, the duty officer's car, and they're recommended to be replaced in 5 to 10 year cycles. And then the years of those, 3, 13, 15, 3, and 8. And at the bottom, the average age of those fleets. So we got the large equipment at 23 years, average age. And the average age of the small fleet is 8.4 years. This chart that Diane put together is estimated future expenses, and that's just taken off of what Chief Shears put together for our equipment replacement to 2036. And so it shows each year in these columns, like in 2021, we had $600,000 worth of items replaced. 2022, we had over 400,000. So you can see it varies from year. We have some heavy years, and we have some light years. And historically, that's how it's it's been in the past, and it really marches forward that way. That way, not everything's always hitting the same year. And just for example, like here's a year that we can save money because we got 3 big years coming in a row, with the highest one in 2028. So that just gives an idea.
I think if we put that out there, we wanna like say that, some years are more savings years to prepare for more spending, and other years are years where we spend more.
Yeah.
Because
It's, it's hard to
it's
spend
hard to-
600,000 on a pumper if you only bring in $1.2 million. I mean,
Yeah.
without saving those years,
Yeah, because just looking at this chart, it doesn't really do
Well,
much for the average person, they wouldn't really understand.
And I'm guessing there's no correction or assumptions put in there for inflation either, which is.
Right.
right, and that's when I built that 36, got to 36,
And
and I know right now that, without updating that right now, I'd say the next pumper is gonna be $1 million. I mean, in 12 years, this one went up,
And I get into that further back in some of these slides, but when when you guys review this, if you can give me any input, this is where I can put a text box down underneath the chart, and tell the story, in verbiage, about that. Next one, 1.8 mil levy, again, renewal. What I've tried to do here is start off is just trying to explain it. This levy is used for capital improvement items. Following chart shows our equipment replacement schedule over the next 12 years, and we submit this levy to our residents every 5 years for approval. And this is where I've just started over here putting some things down. We've got planned expenses, and it's at 2021 pricing. It's 1.8 million, and the expected revenue over that time is 2.2 million. And this is, again, it was based on this 5 years. And that's where I think this chart comes in.
Wait, back up one there, Gus, I wanna see something.
The back chart,
Yeah, that one right now, just stay there. I'm trying to do the difference there, so it's like 300 and,
309,000.
oh no, okay,
well, I guess the key here that I wanted to keep
yeah,
typing in here is the fact that this is based on 2021 pricing. And again, we'll elaborate on the fact that 2021 pricing is about 20% at least minimum, probably short.
And I haven't seen anything go down. Once the price goes up,
It stays
never-
there.
It never comes down. I mean, it might drop a little bit, it's not enough to make a difference.
Like down here is where I've basically taken the same chart. This is Paul's chart that we've generated. It's got all of our equipment, SCBA's, it's got the MDCs, it's got the cot, medics, the cardiac monitors, turnout gear, all the basically large ticket items. And this goes out, again, this chart goes out through 2032. And this is where I've emphasized down here, note, these are 2021 prices. And we estimate that most of these costs have increased from 10 to 20% just in the last year. So this by no means accounts for inflation, it's just a snapshot in a period of time of what it cost us. And Paul updates this every year, so.
I don't know that we should put this in a public discussion, just because, I don't know, to me, it's a lot of detail.
So, yeah, I mean, it's nice to have these things. I think
For us,
to
yeah.
Diane's point, I mean, less is more sometimes in telling the full stories and saying, hey, look, this is the need. Keeping it, because when you drill down there, I think sometimes people get that analysis by,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
paralysis
they're
by
right.
analysis.
They're gonna say,
or-
why are they spending, why are they doing miscellaneous hoses and so,
Well, I guess this PowerPoint presentation is more for if we have someone come in for that you're trying to explain it to, or whatever, as a group discussion, then we could use this. I'm also, I guess, putting these together so that if we can pick and choose them.
Yeah, what we
how
like
want
and-
to,
yeah.
yes. So, how you wanna tell a story. I've even got like a 2-pager here, it's just front and back that I've kind of started on, that kind of gives you just general information.
Beautiful.
So, we'll just go through this real quick and then pick from there. So then we go down to, this is how the levy was calculated. 2018, agricultural and residential, total valuation was 288 million. It's agricultural residential, 13 million commercial industrial. You've seen this chart before, so
Right,
it's nothing new. So the replacement, again, it doesn't change. It's still getting the same amount.
That 612, that's the same number it was on our earlier
Yeah.
pages, right?
And, the key to this, and if we want to tell a story, or if anybody wants to know, is the fact that the reason we want to keep this one is because it does include the homeowners receiving the rollback credits. So, once you go to a new levy, you're no longer eligible for the rollback credit. So it kind of helps to keep the people that have been living in their homes and everything roll back from the state. Okay, then the 2 mil additional, this levy will be used for staffing to assist the declining number of volunteers. We want to make sure there is someone available to respond to an emergency 24 hours a day, every day. And we submit this levy to our electorate for your consideration. Again, I haven't put anything on that chart yet. This is just a trend line that Diane put together.
I don't like that one anymore.
Okay.
You're getting good at Excel, huh?
Yeah, I didn't like it. This one I like.
And this is, to me, I like this one too. I kind of added a few things here.
Yeah.
Over the last 5 years, the call volume has been trending up, while WTFD personnel is trending down. Again, orange is a trend line, you can see it declining, and the calls are going up. And
I
access
think,
has already been met.
This right here probably tells one of the better stories of anything we've seen.
Yeah, it's a plain, simple.
Yeah.
I mean, there's not much questions on it. I mean, if you can follow a line up and follow a line down, it's pretty,
I learned how to do trend lines, that was exciting.
Yeah, those are.
And then this one, again, I don't know what Diane thinks, she picked this up.
I modified it and I did a trend line on this one.
Okay.
So I wanted to kind of maintain consistency of how things were being presented.
Okay. So I added some verbiage on this, it's down here, I put the average response times for fire and EMS. With the addition of some full-time staffing, again, I put a little narrative at the bottom, we feel we can get this time down under 5 minutes. Again, trying to tell a story that, we can't be taking 7 to 10 minutes to get out there if you're having, cardiac arrest or, a true emergency. The quicker the better. This is going on about the 2 point. Again, this basically shows that chart that we saw earlier, how we came up with the millage amount. Just added, this is the pro forma that we use to calculate the millage needed for the 6 employees to run 24 hours on 48 hours off. That's it of the slides. I'm gonna take one of these and pass
Do you
it
want me
down.
to,
I got your slides, you want me to pull them up, or have you changed them?
yeah, can you pull my
Yeah.
PowerPoint, or not, no,
my iPad don't like some of the lines on that grass on here, on yours.
yeah.
It just don't show them up
Right.
where it shows them there.
Okay, so here's, on the right there, I changed that average response time to be just like the other one where it's a scatter chart with the trend lines. And I think that looks, I don't know, to me it just.
Oh, well, yeah, it shows that things are not going the right
Things are not
direction.
going the right direction.
Yeah,
Is that-
that's a better graph.
Yeah, because that other one had that drop right there, it was kind of funky the way that it went on the orange one. So I like, if you replace that, Gus,
Okay.
yeah, that with the other. And then if you scroll down, so Paul had given me, more information about 1974 through 2021. And this is a call volume there from way back when. So that one's okay, but I like this next one a lot better. So this is call volume on the left, the blue, and then the population, which is what you gave me, Gus, for a 10-year, every 10 years, the population. Then I tried to put, now I don't know if these are exactly right, probably need some research, but when the millages came in, when the very first time we started getting,
Like receiving the funds.
receiving funds, yeah. I think it was 1991 on 2.7 mils, because I had gone back, a few weeks ago, I had gone back and looked at all of the out in the Warren County Board of Elections, like what was, and when you get back old, it's really hard because they're all PDF files and you're trying to like read through everything, but I think it was 1991, if you have any more information on this, Gus, we had a 2.7 that was approved, and then we had a 2.5 in 1995. Then I think that 2.7 maybe was dropped and replaced with 1.8 there in like 1997 or so, I think is what it was. So if, wherever these lines end up, what it shows, what I'm trying to show is that we haven't asked for new money, any new money since back then.
Okay, then this isn't completely accurate
Okay.
because the 1.8 came on in,
Oh, I'm sorry, I don't even have the right numbers, do I? 1.8,
Yeah.
I'm sorry, let me look at my.
and then the 2.45 was ran in,
Oh, that one, no, I was reading.
2007, I think the 1.8 was run as a, 1.8 served 2 5-year terms. And then I think the third time around is when we did a replacement.
Okay,
And the 2.45 was original millage until it came on in 2012, then we ran it as a replacement. So that became additional revenue.
okay,
I know the 1.8 mil in 2007, when we renewed it, or, when we replaced it, it had already reduced down to under 1 mil. It was like 0.9 something.
It was way in there, you really had no choice of replacing it on that.
okay. So can we add, you think it would be good to add those lines in there? Because we're trying to show, you know, that our population's increasing, our call volume's increasing, but that we haven't asked for new money.
Well, the revenue stays the same.
Right.
So even though you're getting more population,
Yeah.
you're still.
So would it perhaps be better to show the amount of money collected as a
Oh.
third
Yeah.
scatter plot?
Yeah, we could, I don't know how we could.
It might actually tell the story as far as, you know, because if you don't see that line going up, but instead this line is staying flat or is
Right.
dropping a little bit, then it really demonstrates that, there's a gap that has to be addressed.
Right. Do we historically have that information? Could Daryl get it from how much we collected? Okay.
Where a millage state, or a dollar amount stays the same.
Well,
Yeah.
and that's just it. It's like removing
Yeah.
that millage, which I think is gonna be pretty confusing because it can be confusing to me, so.
Yeah,
To the average person who's out there looking at this and they're trying to figure mills, oh, millions of dollars, okay.
Yeah.
They're just not gonna be on the right same page. But if we explain this as a factor of what dollar amount specifically, how much money do we have?
yeah,
That's where you've got to try to define, to explain to the electorate the difference between actual money and effective millage.
Yeah.
Correct.
yeah.
So you just like, as population goes up, the effective millage goes down, but your dollars stays the same. I mean, you kind of have to be in the business for a while to even
To get
to
it.
understand.
Correct.
I mean, because Joe Q. Public has no idea.
Yeah,
But this chart right here, I really do like that. I mean, that's, it,
I don't know how I can add a third one, because
yeah,
I can't add another axis.
You could still add another layer of lines to it. I can try to help you with it. I mean, it's just kind of a little.
Because I don't know how, because these were such different numbers, if you see.
yeah.
Yeah, because if I throw these all together in the population and the call
Yeah,
volume,
correct,
it was
yeah.
like, call volume looked like nothing all down here on the bottom.
But, yeah, but
You can always put a graphic beside that and shows the actual
yeah,
dollars.
well, and
You
yeah,
can.
do the same year, yeah, start with 1970 to 2030,
Yeah.
and then demonstrate, you know, basically on that same timeline,
Yeah, separate out, you mean
the money. So
The
take the
money.
money and have, you know, or even do the
have one
money.
be call volume and money, and the other be, population and money?
No, I was just saying, just have them, just a chart separate for
Oh,
money
separate for
altogether,
money,
and,
okay.
but side by side, that way
Okay.
the
Oh, I
story is
see.
still being told.
Right,
I think the other thing you could do would be just to, let's see. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, really, without getting too convoluted with
right,
trying to follow the dots.
okay.
You might be able to go through, yeah, I mean, because if you use color, you might be able to go through and put them in the same, you know, but I think that would just make it much more confusing. So a separate chart with just the money, even money collected, money spent, and people can see the ups and downs, the savings trends and the spending trends. It really just depends on what demonstrates the need the most, and to me, that's just the dollars collected. I mean, we're not operating on any more
Yeah.
money.
I know, I think it's all dollars, but I don't think they need to, not that they don't need to know, but that's not the way.
It's just not
It's
it's not the story
Yeah.
that shows the truth, that
Because I
what's
don't
the
think we
truth.
have a spending problem,
No,
so,
no.
okay.
I would, this is just my 2 cents worth, I wouldn't get too wrapped up in your graphs and everything. Because figures, everyday people can look at figures through years, you know, dollars. They can see that and they can understand it. You get to going too much with graphs and everything, and they're just gonna go, they're gonna cross-eye, and
I
it's just
agree.
like you said, it's not gonna make any sense at all.
Well, and that's where it's, you know, removing the lines with the millage that shows that, I think, although it's a really cool way to demonstrate, I think if that's pulled out and the revenue just shows that it's flat. I mean, I think you don't have to be a Phi Beta Kappa to look at 2 sets of lines, see them
Oh,
going upward.
absolutely not.
And then look at
I
the
mean,
other
even,
sets.
even with what you got here, I mean, for those of us that know what we're looking at, makes perfect
Yeah.
sense. But here again, I mean, collectively, we've got a lot of years and a lot of experience here. that-
And the charts aren't the end-all be-all by any stretch, but I think it's the, you know,
You just
Saying-
keep it simple.
it,
Keep it simple.
Gotta use the
straightforward.
KISS method.
Yeah, we know we have a
I
high
just
call
have to say,
volume.
I used to teach classes in GED, and
Uh-huh.
one of our components was how to read graphs.
Yeah.
Because mostly everybody couldn't. I'm just,
That's why you gotta keep your graphs simple.
simple.
What she said.
A flat trend, I mean,
How Gus kind of puts them, if we put verbiage below them, and
Right. that
basically
was-
tell them what they're
just when he
seeing.
said that, I thought.
Yeah, yeah.
Just-
Keep it simple.
Mhm.
That's it.
fire department need money.
Well, not quite that.
Okay, all right.
Could you, Gus, could you get me, Gus or Daryl, somebody get me some, money over the years, what we have collected every year?
Yeah, and I could probably share with them, like, those years it went up when we did the replacement.
Replacements, yeah,
Yeah, and stay flat.
flat
Yeah.
replacement, and flat.
Yeah. Okay. And I'll figure out a way to update that graph, make it even cooler.
Well, just the KISS method.
I know.
You know, that's, I mean, that,
The trend line's perfect, that's what you need to show is the trend line, because that's what it basically is.
Exactly.
It's rising.
And then,
years.
the most, even though it's a complicated definition, try to simplify it to define effective versus actual. You know, because here again, I mean,
And see, that's where I think that and we all learn and we all accept information in different ways. And so I think this campaign, which is what it is, it has to be multi-pronged. It has to be,
Oh,
hey,
absolutely.
here's the charts, here's Diane and me and Andy talking to people and explaining what's really going on.
Sure.
And, you know, here's flyers or postcards or whatever else that, you know, all these things, not one of these pieces is gonna be the end all be all, but all these things together, I think, will speak to each of us in our own ways.
Oh, absolutely,
It's-
yeah.
I mean, really, we need to get this out and start warming the public to it right away, you know, hit with Facebook or whatever else, you know, ASAP before they accuse us of, you know, trying to slip one by them.
Yeah, you've only got a couple months.
I know.
No,
All right, so,
Okay, so the letter, currently the fire department and board of trustees is seeing an increase in emergency runs and public service calls with a decline in local volunteer staffing and part-time people to provide the basic services that the community has come to expect. While the residents of Wayne Township, Village of Waynesville, and Village of Corwin have always overwhelmingly supported our needs through ballot initiatives, not all operational needs are fully funded. Considering continued service delivery issues and projected shortfalls in fire fund revenue affecting the fire budget, the fire chief, township administrator, and board of trustees have explored options to address these concerns in 2021 and early 2022 before they became too critical to react on. Based on the research and recommendations of the committee, the board of trustees concluded a renewal of an expiring 1.8 mil levy that is set primarily for capital equipment replacement be placed back on the ballot for another 5 years. This levy will not increase property taxes. Trustees unanimously voted to place it on the general election ballot, resolution 2022-48. The second component, based on the research and recommendations of the committee, was for the board of trustees to place an additional 2.0 mil levy on the ballot for 5 years, asking the community to support current and future staffing issues over that 5 years. Trustees unanimously voted to place it on the general election ballot, resolution 2022-49. A flat property tax revenue model in the state of Ohio, lack of economic growth, rising demands for service,
Joe Biden.
Was that a Freudian slip there?
I didn't think I put that in there. A flat property tax revenue model in the state of Ohio, lack of economic growth, rising demands for service, increasing employee costs, medical supplies, and equipment are just a few of the reasons this additional revenue is needed to maintain current fire and emergency service operation levels. If you have any questions or concerns regarding levy, feel free to send us an email at, and I thought maybe we should create a fire levy email separate that we can. And it's underlined, and we could maybe highlight this flat property tax. I'll kind of go in here to kind of explain what that means if people want to read it. When voters approve a tax levy, they are voting on millage on the value of property at a specific point in time. This millage is applied on 35% of the total property value at that time. That specific amount of dollars is collected in each and every year thereafter. As additional property is developed or property values increase, it is then annually divided into the fixed dollar amount of the levy and becomes a new reduced effective millage rate.
So you spelled millage wrong.
Mileage, yeah.
Yeah, mileage.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, okay.
But again, draft.
All right, yeah, I know. I'm just making sure.
As an example, our current 1.8 mil levy brings in the same amount of money, $450,000, as it did 10 years ago. I guess I could go on to say that, you know, and if it's approved 5 years from now, it's also going to be.
Yeah.
But the millage has been reduced to 1.235176 mils for residential and agricultural, which is a 31% reduction from what you were paying when the original levy was passed. And then I just went into some, how will the levy funds benefit you and the department? The funds will be used to sustain the current operations, fund 6 full-time firefighter, paramedic, EMT positions, 2 people per day, ensure that 1 adequately staffed and equipped paramedic ambulance squad is available to respond to your emergencies, improve safety throughout our community, reduce response times, meet the emergency safety needs of the community. Why do we need 6 full-time firefighter, paramedic, EMTs? The current funding and staffing model for the fire department is based mostly on part-time firefighters, paramedic EMTs, and volunteers. Due to circumstances affecting our industry as a whole, the pool of available volunteers, along with part-time firefighters, has decreased despite an aggressive recruitment campaigns. Facing a shortage of volunteers and part-time firefighter, paramedic EMTs, the township has no option but to hire additional full-time firefighter, paramedic EMTs to accompany the part-time personnel and volunteers. Without an adequate staff of both full-time and part-time firefighters, paramedics, EMTs, and volunteers, the department may be forced to brown out an ambulance and/or entire station in some instances, thereby hindering services to the community. They go on to explain, what is a brownout? Brownout occurs when there's not enough firefighters, EMTs, paramedics available with staff a given shift. I won't read all that. Who's affected by a brownout? Any person in an emergency situation could be impacted by a brownout. If our units are browned out, another crew from a neighboring jurisdiction must be called. As a result, response times could double as other crews need to respond to the emergency. What will happen if the levy passes? Voter passage of the 2 mil levy will allow the hiring of 6 additional full-time firefighters and paramedic EMTs. Additionally, it'll provide a competitive wage and incentive package to attract and retain additional part-time personnel. These new hires will yield fully staffed squad, medic unit, and ultimately a substantial reduction in the chance of brownouts. The selection process for full-time firefighter paramedic EMTs will begin in early 2023 with the expectation of appointments in the spring of 2024 when the funding will become available. And that's kind of where I stopped. So I just,
I think we need to tell them how much it's gonna cost them, right? I don't see that anywhere in here.
no, I mean, this is again,
Okay.
a draft that I haven't really fully
All right,
Flesh
expanded
out
on.
about
Yeah.
per 1,000
yeah,
K is what you're looking at?
Yeah.
Just tell them that part, or?
right.
Okay.
So I think this is great, Gus. I think it tells the verbal story, and you take something like this and you supplement it with graphs and charts and everything else, and I think you really have a nice picture of, and it's about as honest and direct and straightforward as we could possibly be, while still being ahead of this thing and not being reactive instead of proactive. So, the one thing I would say is if you scroll up a little bit, on the benefits, like how this benefits, I would almost go through it a little bit more. Yeah, how would the levy funds benefit you and the fire department? I would almost go through and say better service, and then basically put a couple of those bullet points underneath the better service, and then have faster response times, and put a couple of those bullet points underneath faster response times, and then safer community. Something to where it's basically
An equation.
yeah, and it's the benefits, like, especially when you get into to marketing, a lot of marketers like to go through and sell features,
Right.
but the features don't really matter. It's the benefit that matters.
Right.
It's what I get out of it.
Well, yeah, I mean, what you're saying,
What was the other question?
Better service, and this was just me writing down quickly, so better service, faster response times, safer community. And I think all of those things can pretty much fit within those.
Just wanted to type it in there for, also, yeah, and I can put those bullet points
Yeah.
into it.
Okay.
I mean, what do you guys think? I think again, it's great, and I'm happy to see things coming together with this.
Yeah.
Thank
Well, I
you,
like the way
guys.
how you put it apart there, and then it's really emphasized the three main characteristics, and you can look down through and see what.
Yeah, how these things support these other
Support
things.
that.
Yeah.
I didn't know, I kind of stopped there after 2 pages, because I didn't
Yeah.
want it too lengthy, and I didn't
I
know,
know.
so, feel free, I'll email this out. I don't know if I emailed this one to you guys or not. Okay, so I'll send this out to you, and then you can send back some corrections or things that you feel might need to be put in, maybe taken out. Maybe don't need to talk so much about brownout, although
Yeah.
I think that is something that
It's a little bit of a
we're
scare
not
tactic.
used to, but it's something that you
It's a
know,
very real possibility.
But it is a possibility, I mean, you gotta think about it.
so I would like at least maybe one or two lines of that,
Yeah.
and what happens when we don't have enough people, you know.
I mean,
My original thought was.
it's not a tactic, I mean, it's a fact. I mean,
Yeah.
See it all the time in Massey Township, you sit there and wait 10 minutes, and then they decide to, okay, nobody's signed on, so we'll dispatch it again, wait another 10 minutes, and we'll dispatch.
Speaking of which, is there a case study? Can we find a community that's similar to our size where they don't have the funding or they don't have, I'm just wondering, Paul, top of mind, can you think of any department that just doesn't get what they need or?
Well, I mean, the smaller right next door to Massey, I mean,
Yeah.
just right next door, I mean, they're paying contract price and their contract now is higher than what they got coming in. I mean, but I mean, that's a lot of smaller runs, but it's on a bigger, it's a worse shape there, so, I'm sure there's somewhere you can put data in. I mean, when I'm fire chief, I put an email up on the bulletin board and,
I guess we don't need to go to that extent. I think our residents are, you put the facts in front of them and I think they can.
well, and, I mean, this is gonna be kind of rough, but I don't know whether the general public understands that the reason that we have fire and EMS is because they want it. The township's not required to, we don't have to. The community wants it, so if you want it, you gotta pay for it. I mean, that's just down and dirty right there. I mean, there's a lot of folks that are under the assumption that it's just, that's the way it is, wondering why we don't have a police department. We don't need to go there, sheriff's department doing a great job.
That they are. We
Yeah,
love
that
our
they are.
sheriff's department.
Can we, talk quickly about the methods that we think that we might want to publicize this? Like, how are we gonna, once we have our stuff all put together, what are we doing with it?
I thought we were gonna have a open house at the new fire station.
I think we should have that, I think it should get out on social media.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Put it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The good thing is our social media, we don't have comments.
Thanks, George.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Well, and for each of the trustees, I think we each have our own sphere of
Yeah.
social media influence as well, where
Yeah.
we can put it out. And that's where, again, I want to get on it now, to where I can start
It's not too early.
answering the questions, planting the seeds, letting people know the big picture, and it's not like, you what? You're doing what?
Let them ask questions and inquire.
Give plenty of time for the dialogue.
Let
And are
them
we
get a chance to
putting
meet
it in-
us, talk to us, ask them.
Are we putting something in the magazine also?
Yeah.
Okay, is that written yet?
No,
No, I don't.
I mean, it's partly right here too.
partly right there, maybe that's kind
Yeah.
of,
This is part of it too.
Well, I mean, you ought to get open house at the firehouse, have it like a town hall meeting, same thing here. Have one here, have it as a, on a meeting night, and put it ahead of the regular meeting or something, on a light business, meeting night, as far as that goes, to try to blast it. With all the information that y'all are coming up here with graphs, and what popped into my brain would maybe split it up a little bit. Try to keep the same general, but don't throw everything at them all at once. That makes sense.
No, different occasion calls for different ways.
Exactly,
to think
exactly.
about it. Yeah, I
Exactly.
agree.
Maybe put a big blast in the magazine.
Yeah.
Cause that way, if they get tired of reading it, they can put it down, then they can come back to it. It's not like going to, like we did in college, go to a lecture and sit there for 3 hours, and about halfway through, you're like, well, what was this about again?
Actually, I would propose, sorry.
Oh, I was gonna say go to the village council meetings too?
Yeah, one of us can go to each, well, we have the Village of Waynesville, Village of Corwin, I don't know, I think Village of Waynesville has better attendance, of course.
Yeah.
Chamber of Commerce, well, Andy can swing Chamber of Commerce.
Yes, I
pretty
can.
Yeah.
well. You can kill two birds with one stone that way.
I remember back in the past, like, is the Lions Club still kind of active or not?
Oh, yeah.
Because I remember stuff being about school levies, like the Lions Club would get a presentation.
Let's see.
I mean, it's good to get a core value of people that support it.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you get the
Right.
Village of Waynesville's council supporting it, you guys supporting it, you get,
Well,
the
you
Lions Club supporting it, you get the school board supporting it,
need 100 really good people, yeah.
you know, you get those, you know. A
And
lot
then,
of people
and then it
follow
becomes
those
telephone,
groups.
the game of
Yeah,
telephone.
exactly. You know, Halloween Carnival, can we get trucks out there with lights, touch a truck, maybe a Halloween Carnival or something if possible?
I saw you wrote.
The,
Which we always do, hand
Which-
out candy
anyway,
and
right,
all that,
right,
so.
right.
In the years that we've had levies at that time, we've always sort of given the kids candy and sort of talked to the family, you know, the parents on the side, so. But
So-
now there's so much social media,
that's where you're
I mean,
gonna,
it-
you're
it's
gonna get
just,
30 to
you know.
50% of people exposed by social media.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking as soon as, so we stick it on our own social media page, but then if we share it on Let's Talk Waynesville, I mean, I'd like to, but are we just gonna get, opening it up, because that's public comment, people can just comment.
I'll put it on my trustee page, my individual
Right.
trustee page, knowing that it will probably get some people that are, but it's one of those things where I want those, like, you almost want those people to go through and to complain or to gripe or moan, and if they have legitimate concerns, you can address them. You can explain them. I don't think we're asking for anything unreasonable here, and I don't think we're doing anything that's out of line.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things where, like, I fully believe in what we're asking the voters for.
Sure.
That being said, come at me, bro. What do you have?
Well,
yeah, you're
right.
just not doing it to do it.
Correct.
You're not doing it to take their money.
I mean,
Yeah, it's not, you're not asking them for money so you can go on a big shopping
So-
spree.
Well, what I've heard from a few people when I've said it is, well, you know you're gonna get pushback because that new fire station was just built, and they're gonna say, well, you just built that new fire station, now you're asking for more money. That's kind of people's mindset a little bit. They
Stay
don't-
for that fire station for over 20
Exactly.
years,
I know, they don't understand that.
and that's what they need to be told.
but, and frankly.
No different than this
that-
building.
That might be, you know, the image that goes there, the header that goes out is a picture of the fire station, and you put a caption on it that says,
Bought and paid.
yeah, bought and paid for, saved for over 20 years by your conservative, your fiscally responsible township trustees of the past. I mean, come on, you know, it's one of those things where.
And people's gonna fault you both ways.
Yeah, they are.
They're gonna fault you for taking their tax money, they're gonna fault you for not, you know, for not giving it back to them, but then there's gonna be the other one's gonna say, holy, how in the world did you do that? You know?
Did, on the plaque on the big firehouse, did you put on there no loans, no levies? That,
No, because,
I mean, cause no, the building, the road garage and the salt bin, I've got plaques down there in the shop. When they were built, no loans, no levies. We saved for them, paid cash for them. Same way with this building, same way with that new firehouse.
the problem is, there is a levy.
Yeah, that one was save funds, you know, no
There's a
loans.
capital
and-
improvement levy that
Well,
paid for it, so, I mean,
But
no
yeah,
additional,
yes.
you know,
We didn't do anything.
It wasn't special
yeah.
collection.
Right, it wasn't a
Yeah.
special collection or anything, but
So another thing I think I'd like to do, if, perhaps up until the election, would be to open up the meeting here at, or not the meeting, but the room at 6 o'clock for just question and answers. We can have, you know, presentation kind of automatically, you know, flowing through up here, and then one of us can be here at 6, kind of rotating through. I know Andy's busy with football, so I'll skip you.
I can be here after 6:30.
But you
I
know,
appreciate that.
something like that, where we have a standing, open invitation that we're constantly cranking out there. The information's here, talk to the trustees directly, talk to, you know, Chief Shear,
if
find out.
you can get that, if you can get that put together, I'd start that next meeting.
Yeah.
If you can get it, if you can get all your info put together.
So,
Actually, that's a heck of an idea.
Because you're putting it out there in their eyes. I mean, you're not trying to sweep anything other, you're just putting straight honest facts right out in front of them.
You guys know me, good, bad, or indifferent, transparency, 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 that's kind of been
Well,
my thing.
yeah, I mean,
We posted meetings, we've already posted meetings.
you can't spring them. You
No.
can't spring them on the first Tuesday in November.
And frankly, we're not gonna reach out, there's still gonna be people who be like, I didn't know you guys were even doing that.
Right.
You know, they're
Or
gonna ask.
can we put signs out? Are we putting signs out?
WTFD Inc. has signs that says
Okay.
Wayne Township levy vote, fire levy vote yes. It's just generic, we didn't put no dates on them,
Okay.
it's just generic levy signs that we bought.
How many do we have? Or do they have,
They have.
excuse me?
Probably 50.
Okay.
Every time we put them out, we get a few that we don't get back.
Yeah.
I would guess we probably got somewhere in there 50. And they're those signs,
They're
Yeah.
18 by
18 by 2.
18
or-
by 24,
Yeah,
whatever.
something like that.
Those white with red letters, it's print both sides in wire stain.
Did Suter do your signs?
He did.
Campaign?
Yep.
So, this is the time where we call in favors for folks that we did a lot of business with, you know, in elections past. And so I'll call Andy Designs now and see if he's willing to donate some signs for us, to WTFD.
Yeah, because I think that's, Gus, you know the legislation on,
If you're gonna take in any money or spend any money, you need to have a treasurer and have a,
yes,
But WTFD Inc. already has such.
all we had.
Already have that in place, sure.
but you also need to, if there's gonna be any income of over $25 and
Yeah, it's,
expenses, then you have to
You
file with the board of
Yeah,
elections,
yeah, board elections, yeah.
which is no big deal. I mean, you can appoint somebody to be the treasurer and then fill out the report, so it's not gonna be that much money spent.
Right, yeah, you're not talking about a large amount of money.
Okay, well, I think we've had some really good ideas thrown out here. Gus, if you can go through and, you know, put your couple tweaks or whatever you wanted to finish up with those things and send it out to the trustees individually, we can go back and forth and,
Okay, I'll keep looking.
see if we can get this ready for September 1st.
and you want that link, my wife's on my pen. I'm lost, I got a pen, it just.
Oh.
Okay.
She said, real quick, and it's gone, I've reached for it like 3 times. But you want me to go ahead and have that email address made like you had there?
Yeah, I think, however you want to.
I mean, if that's what you guys wanna use, I can put that out for confirmation.
Where is it gonna go to? Who's gonna look at it?
Whatever you
Well, I
guys
think, what did
It was up towards the top.
It's WTFD Inc.
Right
So,
there.
yeah.
Fire levy 2022,
I, yeah. I mean, if you can make it at that, then,
I mean,
should you have any questions, I guess you can submit it, and you can monitor it and, you know, answer the question.
that's the easiest way. Okay.
And
And I think we can set that up, if I remember right, you can receive an automatic forward to a group. I think that's what we do with our recruiting one.
Yeah, you can go through and have it automatically done like that.
It'll
As many as
reply
you
to
want
that
to.
and automatic forwards to a group.
Okay, any further discussion on the work session this evening, fire department?
And I just think it's a great start, we just need to get it going, start moving.
All right, so I would like to make a motion to enter executive session for personnel matters under ORC 121.22 G1 to consider the appointment, employment, compensation of a public employee or official.
I will second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. 824?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so back in regular session. Bearing no further business, I make a motion to adjourn at 9:25 PM.
I will second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.